Yes, thank you, Erin. This meeting will be recorded. All right, well, it's 7:01. I expect some more people to probably trickle in, but why don't we go ahead and get started? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda Roberts. I am the president of the PTA this year, and I have a son in 3rd grade at Maryvale and another incoming kindergartner next year at Maryvale. So I want to thank you for joining. It's amazing how quickly everything is changing. I remember when we were having our January meeting and we were in the middle of the Omicron surge and everything seemed so dark and dreary. And now here we are just 2 months later. COVID cases are way down, and just today they made masks optional, which will be a big change. So, but that's also exciting times because a lot of that means that we as a PTA and as a school community can begin to gather again. It's been a rough couple years, and one of the things that's really suffered has been our community building and our ability to actually get to know each other and to get together and to put faces to names and those types of things. So that's a little bit of a sneak preview to the fact that we have some really exciting things planned for the spring in person, because we think we can finally do that. And it's exciting to bring back some of the PTA favorites like the science fair, which is April 2nd. So if you haven't already registered your child, please consider doing so. It's a lot of fun. It's amazing what these kids will put together in terms of the sophistication of their science experiments. Also, just a plug, if any of you parents are or know other parents who are in the science field, we are looking for a few more judges for the science fair. Your job would be to go around and look at the science experiments and talk with the children, et cetera. Judging is not really the right word. We don't give out first, second, third, but it is a way for you as a scientist to engage with aspiring scientists. So if you haven't already volunteered or you know somebody who's interested, we really would appreciate if you'd be if you would think about perhaps being a judge. And simultaneously, we are going to be running our book fair, in-person book fair again. So that's exciting. And that will be during school days for kids. And then also that with the science fair for parents. We will talk about this a little bit later, but our newly named Maryvale Extravaganza, thank you, Teresa. We are hoping to do a big event in mid-May that will have some of our international night, some of the spring fling, our silent auction, and assorted other fun ways to get us actually physically gathered together. And then some things that have, and then coming up imminently in 2 more nights is our ice skating night in Rockville Town Center. Lebanese Taverna will be hosting a restaurant night. And then if you're interested, we encourage you to bring your kids down and go ice skating on Thursday at the ice rink. Maybe everyone will be inspired by the Winter Olympics to become a speed skater. But again, just exciting things on the horizon. And then some things that have already happened that it's really, I want to make sure I call out. Thank you to Hyatt, who's run our very successful spirit wear contest and sales. Those shirts, we sold 250 of them, and they should be coming in the next couple weeks, and they will be distributed to teacher mailboxes. And that's just, if you think about the fact that a 4th grader made that design, and then we were able to print the design and sell the design, and there will be 250 kids, adults, walking around now with that t-shirt. It's really impressive. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Principal Prin for her update.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining tonight. I'll start with
hold up. Your audio is all weird.
What?
You sound like an alien or something.
Hey, maybe pop off.
Matthew, can you mute and see if it's Matthew? Turn yours down. That's odd. Am I still sounding awful?
Yeah.
Oh, you are muted.
What's weird is you were fine earlier when you were talking.
Maybe log off and wait.
Is it better?
No.
No.
Maybe log off, log back on real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna go on mute and use.
Okay. Oh, here we go. That works.
Oh yeah, smart.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Echoey.
Echoey.
1 sec.
Turn
I have
your speaker on.
to. Okay.
Yep.
Better?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, but now I can't hear them. So I have to turn your speakers up. Okay, this is our world pretty much on the daily go-to. I wish my kids were on here. I have 4 grown children and I have to ask them to work my phone. So if they could see me as we navigate trying to get technology to work, they would see another side of their mother. They would be impressed. So I muted mine. Matthew's standing behind me. I have his computer in my hands, but I'm happy to give the update. So we have 2 things. One is the mask that Amanda Roberts has already shared. I'm sure you saw that from the board. We found out about it as you did. We knew that vote was coming today. I would say it was likely that would happen because the messaging that came out prior to it was in the event, and all of our surrounding counties were ahead of us on it. So the mask, optional mask, goes out. It's effective immediately. I am expecting some students to still wear masks, and I'm expecting some teachers to still wear masks. And so we will move in that direction, and still follow all the protocols and policies that MCPS has put in place. I will say our case numbers have dropped significantly. And the best way to find out what our case rate is to go to the MCPS dashboard, and you can see information there. In terms of what's going on at school, I did want to share with you, I got our first staffing allocation for next school year. So for the 2022-2023 school year. And many schools with the drop of enrollment, probably due to moves because of the pandemic, a lot of schools were cut in allocations. We actually got an increase in 1 teacher allocation. And so when you look at the numbers, students learning in the target language of English, which I call our English program, just because it's not the French immersion side, we have 3 classes in kindergarten that are learning in the language of English, and they are almost to capacity. They're at 17, 18. So we will need at this time 3 first grade classes taught in English, in the language of English next year. So right now we have a 1.0 teacher increase. We are interviewing and trying to hire for that now. Our hiring season is open for next year. And we expect that to be resolved very soon. So we will have 3 sections of kindergarten next year in English, 3 sections of first grade, and 3 sections of second. Our second grade numbers are a little bit lower, but I think they're still higher enough to sustain the teacher in that spot. 3rd, 4th, and 5th will have 2 sections each taught in English. And then in French immersion, it's consistently is 2 sections K to 5. So that's just sort of an update of where we are with staffing. I am very excited to share with you that, as you know, Marta Furman, our beloved attendance secretary, truly, she has been here prior to me even becoming principal at Maryvale. She was a paraeducator, attendance secretary. She got a role in Montgomery County as the parent community coordinator. She speaks fluent French, Spanish. I think she speaks some Italian, English. And so she will be working directly with many families to provide resources to them and to schools as a parent community coordinator. It was a big loss for us, but I'm excited to say that we did hire for her position. The person we hired, her name is Katya Amaya, and she will begin March 21st. She's very excited about the role. She is a current MCPS employee, so we didn't have to get House bill cleared or fingerprinted or background checked. she's able to just make the move and transition in with great ease. She's coming from a paraeducator role and is very interested in, learning the school in the different parts. She was very interested in this position specifically. So, and she will be able to support families as she's also speaks English fluently as well as Spanish fluently. So March 21st, you'll welcome Miss Amaya, and I think she's going to be a very friendly face in the office to provide support to all of our families. It is a new position for her, so she's jumping right in at the start of kindergarten enrollment. So we are going to be, she'll be learning on her feet and we'll be good to go with support. So I think that the mask update and staffing, and then Mr. Bowerman, I'm going to hand his computer back and he's going to give you an update. I'll hand it back and then I'll turn mine back.
Hi, everybody.
Before you start, I just want to ask, are there any questions for Ms. Prin? No? All right. Oh yeah, we've got one. Sarah?
Yeah, just regarding the new masking policy, is the best thing just to like communicate to our teacher what our preference is for our child?
I think that's always a good idea to let the teacher know. It's always good to let, copy Matthew or I, because your child has multiple teachers, art,
Yeah, okay.
music, PE, lunch, recess, media, counselor, nurse. So it's, whole village here. So if you let one know, if it's Matthew or I, we can share out your preference. But honestly, I'm going to say your child needs to know their preference,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
it's basically make sure they know and understand what your expectation is for them in terms of mask wearing.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Hey,
Teresa?
just a curiosity question about the added section in first grade. I assume with our beautiful new school that there's plenty of space for that.
So we did have one extra classroom and that's going to be utilized. So we have enough space. Yep. Yeah. And they'll actually probably, they'll probably be put in one of the, we'll have to do a little adjusting to keep the 3 kindergarten sections, for 3 first grade sections together. It might mean a move adjustment, but all of pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are on the downstairs, so that we try to limit the steps if we can. So we'll be fine with that. Thanks for asking that.
Any other questions for Ms. Prin? All right, Mr. Bowerman.
Hi, everybody. It's International Women's Day, and you know what they say behind every phenomenal woman? There's an AP wishing he was just like her. So I would like to thank all of our women in the PTA and all the phenomenal women of the Maryvale community for being amazing role models and leaders, mothers and workers in the world. So thank you. My update is around the beautiful spring that's coming. Some random weather along the way, but spring is on the way. And here at Maryvale, we are focusing on reset. Reset of expectations, reset around behavior, reset for staff, reset for students in our community. And so I've been conducting town halls with all grade levels in the school, meetings in classes and meetings with staff on a variety of different pieces, just to re-energize conversation around how our mission and vision here consistently align with student code of conduct, our work around restorative justice, our work around trauma responsive care in the school, and really trying to help our children recognize everything from bus behavior to bathrooms, from classrooms to hallways around their conduct, their accountability, and their kindness. So, a lot of talk is around hands to self behavior and calm bodies, that our hands and feet, stay to ourselves. We're talking about the use of our words, rough language, inappropriate language, We're talking about unsafe behavior on buses, everything from eating and throwing food to failing to follow the directions of bus drivers and things along those lines. So anything you can do, families at home, just to reemphasize those simple kinds of conduct, ideas around making sure, if you need help, that you ask for it. If you see something going on and that you need support or help for it, to ask for it or get an adult. That our hands and our feet belong to us, that our bodies are not for showing or revealing. At the school, our language should always be kind and loving and focused on, our big three here at the school, and really focused on, really taking care of each other as a Maryvale community, students and staff alike. So that's my update. I'm sticking to it. If you have any questions, you can reach me anytime about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Bowerman? All right, how about, I think you're next again, Mr. Bowerman, for the anti-racism survey.
All right, it's like an action shot. I'm on the move. Follow me this way, everybody. I want to sit down in my other chair.
Live
Okay,
stream your
great.
day.
Yeah, still keeping the energy up here. All right, welcome back here. Here I am again. You're all still stuck with me. I will try to keep it brief, but I'll say first, it was actually comes as an update as well as in this part of my presentation to you. I already sent out information to families around my request, and it's voluntary, of course, but a big request, a big ask to take that 15 to 25 minutes roughly is how long it takes to utilize that information that I sent out in the Connect Ed to families around the anti-racism audit survey. So I'm going to share in just a moment a few elements of MCPS's presentation that came out, but our schools and our overall district, which are very progressive around anti-racism and cultural responsive work, are really focused on addressing racism and systemic racial barriers in Montgomery County Public Schools, both in a historic concept as well as like pragmatic, literal, action-based work now that's going on. And so there's kind of three pieces of surveys that are coming out: staff, students, and families. As they apply to Maryvale, it's grades 4 and 5 are taking this survey. And it's an anonymous survey. It's given in all 7 languages, and it's asking about students, families, and teachers' experiences in the MCPS world. And the survey is really looking at trying to kind of identify and understand how racism affects teaching, affects learning, affects family and learning engagement, affects community and school relationships, and how, again, how history and our present context merge together to really help us move forward in those anti-racist ways, in those culturally responsive ways, to be, educational liberators and supporters in a very strong way around that work, especially in such a beautifully diverse cultural community that we're a part of here. So it's grades 4 through 12 overall, for families who may not know that but have children in older grades. Each school is scheduling its own dates around that. And again, I mentioned it's anonymous, and families are able to complete that. I'm going to send out after this meeting as a follow-up some additional information and kind of a re-upping of the information, including links to completing those materials for families. And then I'm going to share some information with you around the presentation for the student survey, which is coming up very shortly for us. Between March 1st and March 31st, we can use the survey. And I've reached out to my grade 4 and 5 teams for feedback from all of those teams around what would really be best for them. So grade 4 is completing theirs at the end of this week. And next week, we're going to be doing grade 5. And that's done in the classroom. And it's done anonymously. It's done on the Chromebook. A link is released to the students from the teacher through their Canvas platform to take that survey. And prior to completing the survey, which again takes about 15 to 25 minutes tops, they will watch a short video, which I also shared out in the link I sent to families in the Connect Ed, but can be seen on YouTube, all around diversity, cultural expression, and really why this survey is being conducted to continue to focus on anti-racist behavior and culturally responsive practices across our school and our school system. So I'm going to share, and I know I already have screen sharing permission. I checked. So I'm going to pull something to share with all of you around MCPS's view of some of the anti-racism information that's being shared with our students. All right, here we are. And I'm going to jump a few slides around for you and just pull a few things that I think will be help. So it's comprehensive, it's district-wide, and it's really about the fact finding. MCPS will be sharing these out. They're going to be putting together collaborative teams. They're going to look at all of the data and put it together and send it out, at the end, which is really going to be in May with the district, with schools. Not about pointing fingers of any type, but really about the accountability of moving forward as families, as community, as the district, like I mentioned, in a progressive way around promoting this work, which is something that should always have been done. And now that it's continued to really be emphasized, we will really continue to activate that work and carry it forward. Why Dr. McKnight said, and I really like this quote, we cannot avoid talking about race in MCPS. Our data, our recent experiences, and the disparities of how COVID-19 affected the community won't allow us. And so therefore, that survey is being sent out. Staff are also completing that survey at the school, again, voluntary, but I know we'll probably have a really nice turnout around that. They're completing it the week of March 16th. They have the whole week to work on it. So our entire staff has the opportunity to share their voice data around it. A couple other pieces I'd like to share with you. The survey links, when they're brought up, look like this. Different surveys, again, for students, staff, and family. They're just being completed up until the 31st. So families, when you receive that information, you have up until the 31st to complete it. And I really like to ask again, we'd love to have the feedback, not only for the bigger systemic county, but here at Maryvale, boots on the ground level, that we really get your voice around this work. We would love to have that. So thank you in advance for helping us out. Again, I mentioned that first bullet point. I am the survey coordinator for it. But that just really means I'm helping push the information out for our staff, give it to them and our families and our students. Opt-outs went up through the 25th, and that was sent out in multiple emails from the county with a link for that. And I have it's anonymous to other students. And if a student has opted out, there's an opt-out activity for them that they received that's pushed out to them as well, also anonymous. And because the students are working on their own individual Chromebooks, there's not really a way to determine who's taking that. The teacher's also been notified if they have an opt-out student at this time. Let me show you another piece about the survey for our students. It's not standardized testing. It's meant to be and shared out with the video and with the information to be very simple in its nature. Again, it's a short survey overall. It's meant to be inclusive. It's meant to be positive and welcoming. And students can ask questions during the actual survey. Staff are going to be receiving some information, frequently asked questions, and ways to navigate some conversation, because we always want to keep race on the table. Race is one of those things that keeps us unified, keeps us evolving, and helps us to thrive in celebrating such diversity here at Maryvale. And then, of course, on a countywide and national and international level. So there's some question protocols that we have to be able to share information with students so they can ask questions, so that they understand that their voice, again, matters in this, and their understanding around race and around cultural responsiveness matters in this work. The survey structure, it's set up on a Likert scale. So they have a strongly disagree to an agree rate kind of rating. There is options to include details or their own voice, notes that they'd like to take. There's an I don't know based on, their experience. And again, this is just grades 4 and 5 here at Maryvale. And then there's some demographic questions that come in around race, ethnicity, and pieces along those lines at the end of this survey. The components that are accessed in the survey for students, and really also for families as well, that you'll see, are attitudes about school and learning about race. There's a school climate and a safety element, And then there's another piece that's for middle and high school that's not applicable to us. It's around enrichment and readiness programs in the county. Again, I mentioned the 7 languages or 7 primary languages of the county that the survey is designed in. And I'm not going to take you through all of this. You'll find some of this out in your own experience as families, but it is very intuitive. It's a very user-friendly survey. Again, not only is it paced to be brief, but kind of hit the points that they're searching for in terms of data with regards to these pieces, but also very easy to follow in terms of the navigation of the piece, how students can use the drop down to select their language and then move through the piece, asking some very basic questions. Again, teachers are there having received information from me on the survey and how they can go through it and ask questions if they need to, and they can also change answers as they go. So that'll help alleviate some anxiety and some general concern if they have it. Again, demographic questions come at the end of the survey. They can check anything and apply, and they can also write in elements if it's necessary for them in that piece. This is what I mentioned before. Students should feel that they have privacy. We can also include in the setup of the room, if they need to adjust their desks or put up screens, some teachers use those and have that type of thing for assessments and things that they could use if they need additional layers of privacy itself. But students who need, if you mentioned, look at the bottom point there, if they need any assistance with the survey itself, staff can provide that technical support as well. A couple points just to take from this particular survey. If you look at survey point 3 there, I'll just read it out loud in case you can't see it here, but survey administrators should respond to any other questions related to the content of the survey with answer the question you best you can. If you don't know the answer to a question, you can choose, including I don't know. We want to make sure that we're not using any loaded language, any language that carries bias. And this is provided in some of the information I'm sharing with students as well, that our own views on these things aren't, coloring or nuancing student responses or compromising their own racial, ethnic, demographic, cultural experiences with, considering these questions in the survey. The other point was that last one went about demographic questions. So if a student reports there's not an appropriate response or they don't know an answer, they can answer to the best of their abilities. If they report being uncomfortable, they can skip any question that they don't want to answer, which is a nice feature there I wanted to point out. Gender identity, there are some pieces about gender identity, like male or female, for example. So in one of the questions. So after the video and before they open the survey, one of the students, Hannah, who kind of leads or is featured in the video, shares that as the video explained, you're asked a few questions about yourself, right? Those demographic questions I mentioned. They ask about your racial, their ethnic background, and your gender. There may be words that you don't understand, and that's okay. I think 4th and 5th grade at that level and what I think that they're exposed to and live with every day will understand those pieces. But there are pieces there that help guide them in that survey. And again, they don't have to worry about what they don't understand. If they ask when they get to that part, the teacher can say, just look over the list. Are there any words that describe you? If yes, click that word. If no, you can fill in a word or you can leave it blank, which is important. Again, it gives them option, it gives them choice. So we're not elevating any anxiety, that they're able to, represent themselves as best as they understand themselves, given their level of language, their understanding of the technology, and their understanding of the question. So that brings me to the end of, I guess, what I want to share as terms of the primary pieces of that. I'm happy to kind of answer general questions if you'd like. But again, I'm going to share again with families, all families, around the family version of this. It's going to be coming to you. That way you'll have several weeks to work on it up to the 31st. And 4th grade students are doing it this Friday. Very excited about that. And then next week for grade 5, teachers are working on it the week of the 16th. And we're excited about what we hope to see and learn from all of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Bowerman? Well, thank you.
Thank you all so
Appreciate
much.
it. And Teresa's affirmation that she did it during the first part of your presentation is quick and intuitive. And I also took it already, and I agree. It's a pretty simple and straightforward. Well, the questions aren't simple, but the process is straightforward. So great. All right, thank you. So Sandra, you are next. We have a number of upcoming fundraisers going on. I'd like you to fill us in.
Hey everyone, I am doing this, I'm multitasking tonight, picking up my daughter from ballet, but yeah, so tonight, or not tonight, Thursday, we have our first of many upcoming events. We are doing a fundraiser with Lebanese Taverna in the Rockville Square, and also with the ice skating, the Rockville ice skating rink. They're both contributing earnings from the sales to our school. So that's exciting and wonderful. So hopefully we can get some families there and see people. I know Amanda was mentioning how we get to have some more activities soon. So I'm really excited for that. That's 6 to 8, although at the restaurant you can go all day. And that also is including gift cards, I believe. So if you wanted to buy a couple gift cards, some of the earnings from that would also go to our school. And then next week we have another restaurant night at Chick-fil-A at, gosh, why can't I think of where the location is? The one
It's on
by-
research.
Research. That's I was like, it's
Yeah.
Respinar. Okay, thank you.
Right off
So
of
not
28.
not the one near Target on Rockville Pike, the new
Correct.
one
No.
on Research.
Yes, the one that's more up in Rockville area. And that one, again, hopefully we can have a good turnout and see people and eat with people. That would be super fun if you're feeling comfortable for that. There is no mobile orders for this though. This is just, you have to order, I think, at the restaurant for the proceeds to come to the school. And then we are also going to be having our book fair starting at the end of March. And yeah, so if anyone is willing and able to help, we're going to be recruiting volunteers for that. It's pretty straightforward, just running a cash register. So if you have retail experience, we'd love you, but if you haven't, it's really simple. Yeah, we're excited for that. We have just today I got a package from Scholastic for books to pass out for raffles. So I'm excited to get some more books in the hands of students. Yeah, and then our next fundraising event, like Amanda mentioned, is going to be in May, and our silent auction. So Rachel and I are meeting this week to start working on recruiting businesses to donate fun goodies and things. And so if you guys know of any businesses or have any, as you're out shopping, just be mindful, and you can reach out to me, or you yourself can even take the initiative and be like, hey, my school's doing this fundraiser. Would you be willing to donate something? You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people willing to do that and support our school. So I think that's the update I have. Does anyone have any questions?
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Sandra. You weren't on the board meeting, but just kind of so everyone understands the larger context. We started the year with not many members and kind of broke, but thanks to a lot of hard work, largely on the part of Sandra, we are, we're not rolling in money. We'll probably never have enough, but we can, meet our obligations to buy the books for the library. We can give the teachers the teacher grants, and we are in a much better financial state than we were at the beginning of the year. So thank you to everybody, all the parents who have, given Cougar cash and bought t-shirts and all of those things and shown up at restaurant nights, but especially thank you to Sandra, because so much of this fundraising is really is due to you and, by extension, Rachel. So first of all, it's just thank you. And second of all, Sandra noted, but another plug for volunteers for the book fair and the silent auction and other upcoming things. as we do more, we need more, and that's not just money, but that's also time and volunteers. So that's been in the weekly email or newsletter for a while now, but be sure to think about what you might be able or willing to do in terms of volunteering to help us get a number of events going this spring. So thank
Yeah,
you.
and I want to add, it's super fun. Like, I mean, granted, this was a couple years ago. I first did the book fair a couple years ago, and I had a lot of fun just hanging out in the library with Mrs. Chittum. She's so fun. And, you know, so some of the other teachers that you get to see, and it's pretty fun to be in there. I do need to add, and Mrs. Pring, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are going to be helping, there is a training that volunteers will have to do, but it's super quick. And it's on MCPS website, and you can do it whenever. It's just a child abuse prevention survey. So if you are going to be volunteering in the school, that's something that I just want you to be aware of, that we'll have to try to get lined out.
All right, any questions or comments for Sandra?
Is that training yearly?
That's a good question.
Okay, Susie, you'll
The
have to.
training
correct
is
me.
yearly.
Yeah, it is
Oh.
yearly, okay.
I know for staff it's yearly, so I can look into it and ask for if it's for volunteers. But I know for staff it's yearly. It's a mandatory training.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Need to go retake it. I think probably most of us do.
So I just took it a couple months ago maybe, and I'm pretty sure that it actually said that it was good for 2 years.
That's what I thought, because I did it in October, and because my preschooler had a field trip that I went on, and I think it yeah, for parents, maybe I'll have to check. I'll also check, Susie, but I think it was 2 years for parents.
I have heard that as well, so because it doesn't sound surprising. So you may be right, for volunteers, it's different. Staff have to, MCPS employees have to take it yearly. Yeah.
Thank you.
For volunteering to help with the book fair, is that like at pickup and drop off times or all day?
So we do, I have a schedule that I'll be sending out. I'm hoping to run the book fair, and it's all based on volunteers for several days, 9 through to 4:30. And again, they can be 2-hour shifts, they can be 1-hour shift, they can be 3-hour shifts. So there are a couple days where we're hoping to do it 9 to 4:30. I think one maybe was even till 5. And then we're also doing it on Saturday in correlation with the science fair. So I mean, I'll be able to help with that one. So that one will be a couple hours on Saturday as well. But yeah, so it just depends on what you have time. So I mean, if you already want to kind of book your time off for work, and the dates for that are the March, actually, let me look on my, well, that'll make me go away. I think it was the 28th through April the 4th, that Tuesday. So it started on a Monday, that Monday. If it's not the 28th, I'm sorry.
That's right. No, that's right.
Okay, and then it goes to April 4th if that's the Monday. And yeah, so it's going to be a little over a week long. And yeah, so if you want to look at any of your time off, if anyone is able and can go in and schedule some time to come in. Another thing I guess I am hoping that we can pull off, but again, we'll need the volunteers, is to have like a potluck thing for the teachers on the first day of the book fair, to kind of let them come in and pick out books that they might want for their classroom. We've done this in the past, and it's usually pretty great, but we just need parents to help bring in food. So you'll be hearing some more information in the coming weeks. But yeah, if we could get people to sign up for treats to bring for our teachers to show them that we love them. So.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, for those of you who haven't been through this before, because I haven't done the book fair in a couple of years, the teachers they have a wish list, so that you as a parent, you can certainly buy books for your own child, but you also can go get the wish list for your teacher and buy a book or two for your teacher's classroom if you'd like. All right. Anything else on fundraising? All right. So moving on, the first item here under other business is more volunteers. As I noted, we should get our 251 t-shirts in the next couple weeks. So Hyatt is organizing that. She has a daughter in high school, and some of her friends need SSL hours. But if you're interested in volunteering with kind of sorting through the t-shirts and by name and teacher and that sort of thing, you can drop me an email at president@maryvalepta.org. But that's also just very exciting that we'll have 251 of these were sold t-shirts walking around the school soon. My perpetual seeking communications chair, volunteers chair, and programs and events chair. Although honestly, what I'm going to do is use that as an opportunity to springboard into also, we're looking for a volunteer to serve on our nominating committee. So here we are at March. Maybe I just need to remove the communications chair, volunteers chair, and programs events chair. But we at our May meeting will be voting on the officers for next year, if you'll believe it. The end of the school year is coming up fast. So we, per our bylaws, there is a small nominating committee that is 2 parents and 1 person from the school, a teacher and administrator, who will identify a slate of candidates. And this would be president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and actually a new position, president-elect, that we've actually never filled before. And identify people. You can start with asking those of us who are in these roles if we're interested in serving in them again, and then presenting that slate of candidates at the April meeting to then be voted on at the May meeting. So if this is something you think you're interested in, it's a pretty light lift. It will just be probably a couple hours of your life total, but it's a good way to understand the positions and what they do and how we're structured. You can again drop me an email at president@maryvalepta.org. And then, because I'm on a roll here, I'm also going to keep talking about the fact that we're actually not going to have an April meeting. It is scheduled during spring break. We, keep these meetings as the second Tuesday of the month, and nobody really looked at that way back when we set the schedule. And as we look at April now, we realize that our meeting is scheduled during spring break. So we decided during the board meeting at 6:30 to just go ahead and cancel our April meeting. The nominating committee can send out an email to promote the slate. But I didn't think there would be a huge complaint about that, but just letting everyone know, don't bother to tune in April. Our next meeting will be May. But we hope to have a lot of things happening in the interim. It's just that we will not be formally meeting in April because nobody really wants to meet during spring break. The last thing I will say before then put it to open forum is I made a reference at the beginning to another big event that we have in the works, and it's early works, but coming nonetheless. Teresa Clark has coined it the Maryvale Extravaganza, and I think we should keep that. We are looking at Saturday, May the 14th. And basically what that's going to be is it's going to be three big things kind of all combined. It's going to be the silent auction that you heard Sandra talk about. It's going to be bringing back what we always called International Night, although this will be during the day, Saturday morning probably. And if for those of you who never went to one before, it's a great way for Maryvale to really showcase the diversity and the rich ethnic history of all of our students. And parents will come and they will set up tables, and they'll have music and food and traditional clothing or what have you from their culture. And it's a great, really great event. And then the third piece that we are looking to do on that same day is to bring back elements of our spring fling. So that was always a big thing that we did as well. And so that's kind of Carnival Games. So for that, we're going to be reaching out to parents by grade level to ask them to help us organize Carnival Games. It can be very simple, like the rings on Coke bottles, or it can be something a little bit more elaborate, but we're hoping to have a real kind of fun atmosphere out in the back. I'm using that big field and all of those wonderful, great facilities that we have. So that's just sort of a verbal save the date. We will send out more formal information as all of this gets solidified. But going back to how we really want to have an opportunity to physically get together, to celebrate our new building, and to just have fun as we, if you'll believe it, say goodbye to the school year that's really flown by. So I'm going to stop talking and first of all, just ask if there are any questions for me or anybody else who's spoken today, and then we'll transition to open forum if anybody has any other issues they want to bring up. Okay. One thing I will say is also kind of coming up on Tuesday, the 15th, there will be another information session for the French immersion program. That'll be in Miss Prince Connect Ed. And I'm telling you all here, but you're already at Maryvale, and to the extent that you have neighbors or friends who might be interested, the incoming kindergarten crowd doesn't get connected. So this is something that, you know, feel free to share with friends or neighbors who are, or others who might be interested. Are there any other topics people want to bring up for open forum? Anything you want to discuss or ask? All right. Well, thank you all for joining. We will see you again in May, but hopefully we'll see you beforehand for the book fair and for the science fair and all sorts of other wonderful things. And in the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, it's president@maryvalepta.org, and my name is Amanda, Amanda Roberts. And have a good evening. Bye.